For high school seniors who are considering their admission choices after they've been admitted to schools, oftentimes we see the students who have been admitted to their reach schools feeling very excited and feel assured about their future and their path to their career, whereas the students who got into potentially their safety schools feel much more worried or feel like their life is over sometimes. I would like to spend a little bit of time talking about how you can decide on the right fit school for you and for your family, and really kind of understand that there is a best fit, and it doesn't matter so much about brand name when we're talking about universities in the United States. Students who are admitted to their safety schools and who excel at their safety school programs can actually see really, really wonderful growth in their future, just the same way as somebody who got into their reach university. It's true that more and more undergraduate students are going on to pursue graduate school. So we can think of undergrad as this first stepping stone. And it's very important to succeed at that first stepping stone. At the undergraduate level, it's important to maintain a good GPA. It's important to take advantage of internship opportunities and research with professors and building out a network of friends and mentors who can guide you in the coming years. If you end up at a school that is potentially out of your league academically or socially, you actually may detract from your future in the beginning or in the first place on that first stepping stone. So we want to make sure that students are making the right choice and building their foundation in a strong way for their future. There are typically 5 factors that Flex considers important when deciding on the right school for each student. And every student has their right fit school. So let's talk about some of those factors. First of all, degrees and majors offered, right? Not every school has every major available to its students. For example, of the Ivy League institutions, only 2 of them offer business degrees, Cornell and University of Pennsylvania. So if you are a student who wants to go to an Ivy League and study business, you only have 2 options, right? It's really important to discuss and do the research necessary to understand what majors are offered to me at every school that I apply to. Yes, location and setting is factor number 2. This is a really important one. I'm starting to notice that my California kids want to stay in California because they realize how incredible it is here in California. But this is a factor that can really kind of change the experience of a student in the undergraduate setting, right? Because if you're somebody who needs quiet time and perhaps a little bit more isolation to study and be focused, being in an urban city center might not be the right place for you. You might need something a little bit more rural. Or vice versa. If you're somebody who's really, really social and outgoing and wants to kind of have the quickness or the pace of life that a city offers, going to a UC Davis in the middle of so-called nowhere might not be the right place for you. So this is a major factor that families and students should be considering. Number 3 is school size and demographics. In the United States, schools range from as small as 900 students all the way up to 50,000 kids. This can really change a student's experience. And with that being said, I do think that families and students can rest assured that you'll be able to find a community no matter the size of school that you go to, right? Demographics is another consideration. Are you interested in being in a very small kind of connected campus, or do you want the anonymity of a big school where you can have more of the kind of school spirit potentially? 4th factor is public versus private. Of course, in the United States, we can fit majority of our colleges into these 2 big buckets, public schools and private schools. They both have wonderful things to offer, but they are very different settings. Public schools tend to be large research-based universities where students have to take a little bit more initiative to seek out the resources that they need, whereas private schools tend to be a bit smaller, maybe 5,000 to 15,000 students, and the professors are intended on teaching at most private universities, right? So the notion is that private schools offer better education. But this is actually not the case. It really is dependent on what your student needs and desires from an educational setting, right? Are you the kid who wants to raise your hand and be outgoing and ask questions in class? Or are you the kid that wants to have a little bit more one-on-one time with your teacher or your professor? The fifth major consideration is going to be financial considerations. This is a very, very important factor. College is increasingly expensive every single year. So you want to consider what is going to be financially feasible for you and your family. Remember that this is the first stepping stone. So you want to be prepared and not so far in debt that you can't go on and take on that next step, graduate or professional school. If you want to learn a little bit more about how to choose or how to build your individualized college list, please contact Flex today.